welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Space Canada TV. My name is Super Evil Pop Tarts. And welcome, it is time for a Weeb Wednesday stream. We do it infrequently, but we try to do it here and there. But this day is special because our boy here, Bam, has finished the main story quest for Endwalker. And so we're going to talk Endwalkers. Story stuff, what he liked, what he didn't like, our theories, or just what each one of us thought separately. And, of course, his world famous, at least in our minds, the meh Chad and beta list. Should be the beta meh and Chad list. It's much better. So let's just start off with the nitty gritty. My name is Super Pop Tarts. This is how you doing, Bam, aka Jedi Polaris in the chats.
I am persevering.
He is persevering. Yes, he now has the patch quests to go through, but we're only up to 6.3, so it's not like he's far behind. He just needs to open up some secondary stuff from the previous expansions that he hasn't, like Edenverse. He hasn't done that yet. And then, of course, the secondary stuff here in the patch notes for the Endwalkers, which isn't going to be all that hard. Just take a little time, but you'll be able to get in there and do stuff. So first question, Bam! What did you think of Endwalkers?
It was okay. It was good. It's somewhere in between okay and good. Somewhere I felt like it went too fast. It was super breakneck, like spoilers. Like you freaking just go into the campaign and you're like, go. Rip Van Daniel a new one. And you go and do that, and then all of a sudden you're fighting Zodiark.
Yeah?
And you're not even halfway in the freaking campaign at that point. Like the big bad that was prepared for 4 expansions.
The guy who was hyped up.
Guy who was hyped up, and it's just like, okay, you're fighting him now. And he's not even the final boss, get low. And so, like, you kill him, or he kills himself, and then it's like, so now what? Well, now you have to save the world from a whole different threat, completely apart from primals and stuff. So, like, escalation went way too fast, in my opinion.
Enter Ron Burgundy newsman meme.
The what?
The Ron Burgundy newsman meme. Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, that definitely happened. It's like, and so like, so even then you're like trying to save the world, and then you go on to, like, I know it's part of, it makes sense to throw it in there, but it's like they threw in the entire Elpis arc in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. Which did contribute to your understanding of what's happening, but like you get blown into like a separate story piece, and then you just go back and you're like, okay, guys, I know what to do. We must travel to the edge of the universe and tell the depressed bird to stop being depressed.
Well, that's kind of simplifying it a bit.
It's an oversimplification of things, yes, but like it's like there were like no breaks. It just all happened. It was super fast.
Before I get to that question, so what out of the story? Yes, what out of the story did you like? And I guess you could say the breakneck pace was a bit off for you, so that's something you kind of didn't like. But what did you like, not just about the expansion itself, but the story, because it's Really all about the story in Final Fantasy XIV.
Elpis. Everything involving Elpis was freaking spectacular. Everything that happened in that domain, glorious. Ethlodeus, Emmett Selk,
Vanat.
the freaking loser Hermes, amazing story. It was at Vana, it was just there should have been a whole expansion dedicated to that. And then you have the whole final days in another. But it's not what we got. But oh well.
But you still loved it nonetheless.
I loved it nonetheless because it kept a good twist on time travel while also, only having the best freaking characters in the game bounce off of each other.
You would watch an anime with just the four of them, wouldn't you?
I would. It's just freaking fantastic. Vana and Emmett Selk alone is enough to just carry the whole thing. And then it's like, so then we gave you Hythlodaeus.
your new old friend.
Yeah. So it's, and then you throw in the mystery part of that. It's like, if Elpis was longer, I mean, if everything was longer, but I could have stayed in Elpis longer. I could have just stayed there and enjoyed the roses, and then watched the world burn.
Well, just so you know, when you get to Elpis, that is the halfway point in the main story quest.
Yeah.
So.
But that's the thing. It's like, that's halfway, and when you're done, you're only barely 75% done. Probably less. It's like, that's how long you were in Elpis. It was an in and out job.
How about that? Well-written characters in a video game. Who would have thought? Looks at Saint Row reboot. That Forspoken.
I will say that the reason why I liked Endwalker as much as I do is probably because 90% of the characters were really stellar.
That's always good to hear. So
you got me to like Alpha now. I mean that.
Yeah. Spoilers. Spoilers.
I said that already.
But that was on a Super Evil Pop Tarts. We're gonna make sure that everyone gets a better heaping instead of dragging, whining, and bitching once a year.
No, I said spoilers.
Okay. Oh, that's right. All right.
Once I started explaining the Zodiac stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just frickin' go, oh yeah, that whole big boss guy that you spend 4 expansions chasing? Yeah, you kill him in this expansion.
Well, you would expect to.
So it's like, yeah. So.
All right,
that's that.
Anything else in here that you liked or didn't like?
If I were to... Oh, the music was baller.
I was about to say, what about the music?
I do wish, though, that they had more original music, because a lot of them were remixes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they played Dragon Song and the Footfalls, 4 separate times in remixes, 4 different versions. I'm like, okay, no, calm down here. You can't just milk the fricking the member berries like that. You gotta make some good stuff on your own. But then you have the Ultima Thule Cross the Edge, or Close to the Edge. That was a good song. That was original. But that's kind of where the final boss kind of fell for me. Music-wise, it didn't really have an original theme. It was just 3 themes in one.
Yeah, but it got your adrenaline going.
I mean, when you're riding a freaking dragon that wants to kill you while some jackhole is throwing planets at me, you tend to have a heightened sense of awareness, a tad bit.
Um,
Uh,
so music,
so
music is good. Um, Out of the expansions, even count A Realm Reborn because you got to start somewhere. Put them down from best to worst,
okay, the worst is still A Realm Reborn.
except for the end.
It's, yeah, that's like the only caveat. It's like asterisk, but the freaking after .2 or .3 patches is freaking baller. But like, yeah, you
It,
have to play through 35 something hours
yeah,
of some of the
it's
most boring garbage ever. Yeah, that's rough.
it's a slow
Uh,
grind, a slow burn for the story.
but once you go into those patches, and then you go into the Heaven's Ward and its patches, it's like, peak, beautiful. I want more of that. Which is why Heaven's Ward is still my favorite.
Okay, well, Realm Reborn, I take it next would be.
Realm Reborn is the worst. After that would be Stormblood, which is a huge leap in quality, but I wasn't exactly, uh, well,
In
barring a few moments, but it wasn't exactly like the most hype thing. I felt uh, like the Doman arc
Doman,
was really good.
Doma, I mean, sorry, Doma.
Yeah, the Doma stuff was really good, but that's like 60% of the stuff. And then you have the Alamigo and Girabanya stuff,
Yep,
and that was kind of weak, even though that had Raubon and Pippin carrying the whole arc on that section.
yep. And just so you know, fans, when he says worst, we're not saying they were bad. It's just,
No, I am saying Realm Reborn is bad. It's
oh,
very bad,
oh
minus the
okay.
patches.
Nine of the patches.
Stormblood is not.
Okay.
Stormblood is okay. You gets pats on the head. Stormblood, you're all right. Your villain is not, but you're all right.
Well, I'm also just trying to tell them that A Realm Reborn, you got to start somewhere, and considering the state of Final Fantasy 14, it was like a super huge leap in quality compared to Final Fantasy 14 1.0. I should just simply
I
say.
think they're just struggling to dump so much exposition in that. Is why. Because they've had to update the start of the game 3 times.
Yeah, and they were making A Realm Reborn at the same time they were still patching 1.0.
Yeah. So it's like, yikes. It's kind of a mess, but if you can get through it, then you either will enjoy your time or survivorship bias. Uh,
Yeah. And the thing is, it still had stuff that was fun. Like the extreme trials are fun. The the I mean, granted, you're kind of forced to have to play the Crystal Tower arc to move on in the
I
main
will
story
say
quest.
that is probably my favorite part of Stormblood was when they started experimenting with game mechanics
Mm.
in Stormblood. Like that's kind of where I noticed that they started throwing new mechanics at you more often than they did. Like they
And
kind of tried testing your awareness a
mm.
lot more in that. So those fights are probably some of my favorite, Susano. Uh,
Oh yeah. Oh,
so it's
you're gonna love
love
the
love the combat in the game, but the narrative is what the bar.
you're gonna love the For Lord raid then.
So
Okay, so
that's
Stormblood, that would let's see, Stormblood. There's 5 total things. It's 4 expansions and Realm Reborn. So what would be number 3?
number 3. Is Endwalker.
Okay.
Now it's definitely much better than Stormblood, but again, I felt it had pacing issues narratively. The combat was really similar to Shadowbringers, so it didn't evolve too much, but it had some neat mechanics, but most of it which just involved auto-moving you. I mean, it's the end of the series. The characters, barring the Loporits and Y'shtola, I'm sorry, Y'shtola, freaking rocked. Y'shtola was okay. I feel like they don't know how to handle a character that seeks knowledge as a motivation. They just think that they're some like borderline psychopath for some reason, and they can't. Other than the part like Y'shtola has two modes: seeker of knowledge and mommy. that's Y'shtola, but like they don't really nuance it or mesh it very well. It's just she switches in between them, so it's a bit jarring watching her. And the Loporits just sucked. I hated them.
Oh boy, the community's sharpening up those pitchforks right now and getting the lit up hockey sticks to kill you.
Yeah, and also like with the pacing, they had a ton of. They had like 5 villains, which I think too many. Because you have like 2 versions of Hermes. Yeah, you have Fan Daniel, you have Hermes, then you have Meteon, then you have Zodiark, and then you have the whole enemy thing with Charlian. So it's like
not enemies in the class, not enemy in the
trying to kill you, but they were definitely an antagonistic force.
They were like, antagonistical / obstacle.
Oh, and here's another one: the Garlands. They're also trying to kill you during this. So 6.
Yeah, but they have problems in all this thing.
They have problems on their own, but like they still antagonize you.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot going on too fast, and you have to take care of a lot of problems. But
a lot of multitasking.
A lot of multitasking. But I think, given how quickly it went, minus the freaking stupid 26 player NPC quest, I think what they did right, they did very well. It's just that it felt like they had the cliff notes of what they wanted to do, but couldn't mesh it together very well. Is how it felt. But it kind of is like Final Fantasy's greatest hits, or Final Fantasy XIV's greatest hits, is what it was. So it like ended up being good, but I don't think it.
All right. So
popped.
Number 2.
Okay, Shadowbringers.
I think the first thing you're going to say is the introduction of one of the best characters ever.
Yes. Is heavily,
even though technically,
like, it has one of the fattest booster stools in the world called Emmett Selk on how well written it is. The narrative is fantastic. It's literally an isekai, but like, so like you get to have a fresh environment to explore, along with like you get to see how your characters bounce on new territory, and then you just have one of the most incredible villains to date, who just pisses charisma and
oozes it.
Just oozes it. It's just nonstop, and like it's actually practices a good balance of comedy and sophistry. It's, as weird as that might sound.
No,
so
doesn't sound weird.
Very, very good, surprisingly good combination. The only thing that I think put it below the other expansion that I have higher is simply because I think like just some parts I almost could not care for.
Mm.
Like I think like after the Emmett Selk arc, that whole start, and then they tried to pin it on Elidibus as the next big bad, and let me tell you, he was boring as frick. I did not care for him. I'm sorry.
He had a tough act to follow.
He had a very tough act to follow, but also it's like they tried to make it like rely on cunning, but all he did was just rely on everyone else's powers, which I don't think is an entertaining threat to face when all they're doing is using your moves or your friends' moves.
Mm.
Um,
All right, so
just
that
felt like
would
it felt
mean
like
by
it was
process of elimination, what's number one?
Heaven's Ward. My gosh, I was in it the whole way. There was never a dull moment in that expansion, which is exactly why it's higher. It was super well paced.
Award winning.
Well, so was Endwalker, but anyways, the it just was super well paced. It wasn't very complicated. Uh, it covered a nice theme on how to settle your differences.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a good amount of screen time with Estinian and Ysael. It actually, now that I think about it, had a really focused cast as well. Like, they didn't really use the Scions too much. It
No,
was mostly just you, Estinian, Alphano, Tataru, Harshafa, may he rest in peace, and
Lady Estelle.
Ysael, Amric and Ysael, and Lucia. So it's like, it was hyper focused on what you needed to do, why it's a threat, and then it had pretty good twists in it to keep you on your toes. And then it has probably some of my favorite music in the game in that expansion, and also dragons. I mean, who can hate dragons?
Yeah.
Unless you're Nidhogg, then you can hate dragons. But,
well, no, he just
yeah,
well, Nidhogg just simply hates. So, but it's a neat way you put it. You know what? Like the Scions are our point of view people. You know, they're seeing this whole thing that has been stewing for over 1,000 years, where people like Lord Amaric, Harshaphant, Lord Fortomps and his other two sons, even Lucia have been dealing with this for in case Emmerich and the Harshaphant, Lord Fortemps and stuff like that. That's all their lives. So it's it's a pretty neat way of putting that from the Scion's point of view. Where they're our point of view characters. Where Emmerich and all of them, they're there to tell the story. Also Hellsfrogger and even Nidhogg.
Yeah, they had a lot of world building in that too, which is why I also like Shadowbringers, because it's literally like unknown territory type deal.
Well, at Shadowbringers, they're coming up with a whole fucking new world and
a whole new world,
how things work within that world.
And they did well doing the world build, whereas the other expansions, barring Realm Reborn, because that's exposition dump, is kind of like somewhat familiar territory, barring Ultima Thule.
Well, a Realm Reborn is just setting everything up. It's just setting the world, and that's at least I
just think like those two expansions, Shadowbringers and Heaven's Ward, probably did their world building the best.
No, there's no. I mean, you have to look back at where you came from, and then you see how everything, how you improved and stuff like that, and it's a good way to looking at it. So, Heaven's Ward, number one. All right. Let's go with story beats in Endwalker that stood out for you.
Okay.
Any
Let's
specific, like your
any
favorite story,
specifics. My
your favorite story beat in the whole thing of the Endwalker.
in the whole thing of Endwalker, that is hands down when Venat says go back to your world and you get to see all the. Actually, I should draw back a bit. The whole sequence post the Prometheum dungeon? No, Hyperboreus. The
Mm-hmm.
whole the whole cutscene after you complete Hyperboreus, going to when you return back to the Crystal Tower. That whole sequence was probably the best because you get to see probably the best cards from Emmett Selk, Vena, and like how pretty much all the contention of your world occurred in the first place.
Mm. All
And
right.
I thought it had very good striking imagery. It was actually a good callback in the music. Like they didn't like that was the proper time to use the Heidelin theme, the the answers theme. So that's probably my favorite in
All
the
right.
whole thing.
So, I mean, I'm gonna jump all around, but I think let's get to the meat and potatoes, and then after we get done doing meat and potatoes, I'm gonna do a little wrinkle on it because you've played now the bookends to the what a lot of people are calling the Ascian saga. Um, but time to get down with Bam's beta met and
Uh-oh.
Chad list. So there was a little sneak preview on Super Evil Populars Versus, but we kind of forgot a couple and had to insert them in here. So this time we'll be able to do the list more correctly. So let's go with the betas. Really wasn't a big list.
No, wasn't
Uh,
a lot. Because half of them are just there because well, actually, I shouldn't even say that. I just generally hate them. Sometimes they deserve it, and sometimes it's just preference. For example, you're supposed to hate Fandaniel and Hermes,
mm-hmm.
but I think I hate them a bit more than I'm supposed to.
They're on your betas, right?
Yep, they're on my betas. They're both uh, nihilistic psychopaths. Hermes, especially, who goes from 1 to
Nicest.
100 real quickly.
Yep. 0 to
Just
100.
goes, oh, my child, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of struggling with finding the purpose of life. But I think life is very important, okay? Life, Meteon, is super important. You should never undervalue life, no matter what the life is, be it a small butterfly to the largest of bears. You should treat them with respect. And then he gets a call from his freaking children saying that life is killing itself or slowly dying outside of Aetheris. And then he's just like, hey, Meteon, I like to amend my declaration. I think life is meaningless, and that life needs to just burn in hell and die. I'm like, yeah, that seems like a logical conclusion
I'm joining
after what you just said.
I'm joining Peter Strasbourne and his nihilists from The Big Lebowski.
It's like, how do you go from I love all life, big and small, to I want all life to burn? I think that's a bit of a leap in logic, but okay. whatever your child says. Um,
All right, so both Finn Daniel's just simply
Fandaniel's kind of the same, but like he's also kind of separate because like
he's getting the
it's not
memories
only
from
Hermes'
every.
problems, but it's also the Imperial Barbossa's memories, who's just like was never an intriguing character to me because that character was literally like, yeah, I like to make people suffer. However,
He was
I
a
like to toy with their
sociopath.
hopes. However, I like to give them hope, and I'm like, why? Why do we have a villain complex like this? It's just,
No.
it's like you can't decide whether or not you want to be evil or like a Clovis brain. You just want to be a freaking like the father of all mankind. It's like, can you make up your freaking mind?
It didn't help. It didn't help that he was sundered too,
Yeah.
because he's basically getting all these memories passed down into him, and not just Hermes, but anyone who had the title prior to Hermes and after, depending on how many people were there. So, yeah, he's pretty fucked up.
So.
Still, it's your list, and that's where he is. He's in the betas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyone?
Lawbrits were trash as well. Sorry.
Yep, all the Law Brits,
They
they're
were the Jar Jar Binks of Endwalker. they
but they were made.
times possible.
But they were made with Heidelin's love.
Misplaced, obviously.
All right, so Lopritz.
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, like I said, you didn't have a lot of betas. These were more
I'm
like
pretty
characters
sure I
you
had a
hated.
fourth, but it's like, nah.
You more hated them than that they were anything that they did that would make them look like, in the sense that we were doing it for jokes. Hey, remember jokes? Remember having a sense of humor for audience? That's what we're doing. But that you more hated them than the fact that they did anything where they would be considered a beta.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves us with the meh list.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is where Alphino comes back in, guys. Remember when I told you he actually thoroughly impressed me? Well, he's still kind of a loser, but he's just not pathetic anymore. He still has that super bad naivete, but they actually were able to make it nuanced, so I couldn't bully him for it.
He's an optimist who has problems with the reality of the situation.
So, and it also went over why he is such a pacifist. Like, it actually built upon why he doesn't like to do combat, things like that. Because he pretty much, as a child, was all like, dang, I actually get to help people with magic? Freaking sign me up.
I mean, who wouldn't want to sign up for something like that?
Well, him more so. So, it at least went over why he's so... what's the word? I don't know. There's a word.
Excuse me.
Helpful, I guess.
He you could say he has a big heart, and his heart is in the right places. It's just he needs to put some armor around that heart with some spikes occasionally.
Yeah.
Not say be cynical or anything, because that's not him. That's why he
needs to know when to stand.
Yeah, that's why some of the interplay with him and Instinian is really good, because Instinian is the opposite for different reasons. But I mean, he even says it when that's right, you didn't play it, but I'll just say it. No, he did. Yeah, he did. It happened in the main story quest when what's his name, the half-born Garlean Elmegan gets injured, and
Hardball.
Arbol, and then Fadola is like chastising him, and he even tells you know he even tells Fadola, is like, listen, yeah, he's overly optimistic and stuff like that, but we need more of him than cynical bastards like me and you.
Dare to push. Dare.
Yeah, and
Always like that.
yeah. So I mean, I'm glad he moved up because you really trashed him through all four of them.
It's because he also started seeing things at face value.
Hmm.
So like, there's one thing to be optimistic and see the best in things, but you also have to understand how they're likely to react and how to best respond to better the outcome, which is what I think was the skill that he lacked for the most part,
Yeah,
which he didn't in this expansion.
having that optimistic outlook and then
It's like
dealing with
it's like
the reaction to your optimistic outlook, which, if you
it's like
think about it, kind of is mirrored with how Medion and Hermes dealt with the unrosy picture that they got.
oh gosh, imagine if Alphino was there and Elpis with Medion and Hermes, he'd be preaching out the butthole, trying to convince them goodness and just failing miserably. Oh man, that would have been bad.
I don't
Uh,
think he would preach so much as
no,
kind of.
case in point, you have Vothri when he just starts.
Oh no,
Like, the
Alphino
part.
was good guy monologuing to Volthree.
Yeah, it's like you can't just like monologue a freaking person who's so far in his head and act surprised when it doesn't go in the perfect way you expect. You kind of have to brace for the possibility that the bringer of chaos, essentially, like the final boss of the first, is probably not going to care that his salvation is not a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But Alphino in the medal list. Congratulations, Alphino.
congratulations, everybody in Radatzhan or Ratzathan. Sorry, barring the
Everyone.
dragon.
Okay, all right
Barring the
to say.
dragon. Everyone introduced in that goes in the mad list as well.
So just to
They
let
didn't
people know,
last
there's
long enough.
the the uh, the head alchemist, elephant lady, the fisher guy, the cell trap.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
Oddwing or something like that.
Yep, I think that was the main players in
They were
Razatan.
good. They were good characters, but they didn't last long enough for me to invest in.
So they're just a mad
Was
due
was,
due
is
to
pretty much the only reason they're made.
due to the time that they had. Okay.
Due to the time they had, barring the fisherman, I didn't really like the fisherman.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't
I
hate him,
okay.
but
Well,
I felt like they kind of went back and forth in his arc, trying to develop his emotions. That's all.
like he had that thing where he
But
reminded
they're all
everyone about the religion, the religious outlook that they have in Razatan, and they
yeah.
kind of.
It was a bit jarring when he kind of did the thing to help brighten people's days, and then immediately almost falls into a bout of depression afterwards.
Hmm.
It's slightly jarring. but it's
And
awful.
possibly the worst time too. Anyone else in the meta list? I like.
No, but I do remember who I put in the beta now is Quintus.
Oh yeah, the leader of I think it's the. I think it was the 12th or was it the 14th? I think it was the 14th.
Whichever Garlean Legion you fight, is just like his.
Oh wait a
If we're
minute.
talking screen time, he barely had any. Like he showed up, put a shock collar on you, said, "I'm gonna kill your
Whoa.
friends."
Well, he didn't put a
Walked
shock collar
off.
on you because says
Yeah, because he's like, "Don't bother." He'll just manage to break them or ignore the pain.
yeah, he's like the ways to wear a light. It'd probably be not even a tickle.
So whatever.
But he did shock collar the twins.
Yeah. As leverage, and then just
Pretty
goes
much.
completely out on his deal. And then when we get the upper hand, he just immediately shoots himself.
Now I know you haven't
To
started your
protect
Chad list, and I think
himself
you
from
think
repercussions.
you did the meta, but oh no, he was in the beta. But Julius, wasn't he one who was in the meta list? I think.
He was in the meta list, yeah. I feel like they kind of his impact kind of was dulled because it kind of was all a build up to his encounter with Xenos.
Yep.
Right? That's kind of like all the whole interaction with Garland was hinged on Julius, on like how the Garlean Empire can actually ally with you and not be so nationalist driven. I guess
Yep.
like blind faith in their country. And so, the moment he starts, realizing he should probably be questioning what's happening, he takes it to Xenos, but then, like, it doesn't affect him at all.
Because Xenos doesn't give a fuck.
It, like, kind of like all that build-up, and then it just, like, it's like someone took a dart and threw it at a piece of wax. It just got stuck in there and barely left an impact. It was like, okay, that was the build-up. That whole Empire arc just for Xenos to be like, lol, morality's a joke.
Yeah.
And then to follow that up with Alice A just randomly spouting the words of sowing doubt in his mind.
Yeah.
Just randomly, before you go, lol, you'll never find friends if you keep being a loner. Get wrecked, nerd.
And he's like, if I would have cared that tears were actually a thing, I would be crying now.
Like,
that hurt.
Yeah. And then Xenos doesn't show up in the campaign at all, barring like a small cutscene where he's like, those words of Alizé, they kind of hurt me in my tum-tums. I wonder what my friend is up to. And then it just cuts to black. He's like, okay. Whatever. So yeah,
right.
that's the mail list.
That's the mail list. Okay, it's time for the Chads.
Hold on.
Right.
Sorry. I suck at this. While we're on that, Xenos, you're also in the mail list. Don't think I forgot about you. Isn't.
He's probably thinking, like I care. Being on a list.
Yeah, he's also there for the exact reason. He's there for the exact reason as Julius. I feel it's just like you had all that build up and kind of squandered it. I mean, they did it much better than Julius.
Mm.
But, like, I'm, like, after Stormblood, my emotions for Xenos were just so fudging dulled. And so it's like his...
And
like,
then
he peaked probably during Shadowbringers when he only had 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah. Where he's hopping from body to body to get to his body.
Yeah. And then only had a decent part when he took your body. Those were like the only good parts of Xenos that I can recall. Because everything else is just him preaching about why you should enjoy being a psychopath
And him
and
wanting to
just
get...
get over and suck his boner already.
What was
It's like
the term we came up? He was a battle sexual. Was it?
sexual.
Yeah. He wanted to get his battle his battle horny on.
Like I don't like that trope is just like there are ways to go about it, but like to have the sexual not acknowledge at all like what they're doing is like stupid or at the very least insane. Is kind of what makes me not care. Like even freaking Omega is like yeah, I enjoy combat. It's because it betters myself, idiot.
Yep. Well, the Mega's whole thing was to...
And then on top of that, it's just like, don't worry, I just won't kill your friends if...
Yeah, that was the difference between their battle hoininess, where, you know, Xenos just wanted to get self-pleasure out of it, to have that person that was able to make him feel, where Omega was, oh, what is this thing that you have that makes you overcome all these obstacles? I need to figure out what it is so I can integrate it. No, not integrate it. Means to take something and make it part of yourself. Begins with an I. God damn it. Integrate. Yeah, integrate it into myself so I can be better at what I'm programmed and created to do.
Yeah.
So at least Omega has a reasoning for it.
Reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Xenos is just like, he's like, life is meaningless and there's nothing that makes me live. Oh, hello.
It's like I only bettered myself because that way I can have more fun fighting you. I don't care how strong I am, as long as I'm super strong and I have a challenger.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Where Xenos just doesn't care about life until you came along and it just cares about fighting you. It's not to improve him or himself or anything, it's just he just cares about...
It's like, on top of that, it's like, how do you become that strong if you're just uncommitted for that long?
Yeah.
Like, at least with freaking One Punch Man, one, it's a joke, and two, like they had a reason to start, but you're never told why Zeno started.
Yep.
He just shows up and is already like, lol, I'm freaking the best there is, and I developed my powers because my parents bought me sparring classes, and somehow that gave me all this crazy whack.
Yep.
It's like, okay.
All right, so
what would have made him better is if he pulled an Emmett Selk and just helped you in your journeys throughout Endwalker. It's like, I'm waiting for you to fight me. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you through the journey to speed up the process, to expedite it.
Kind of like Indigo against the Man in Black.
It's like, why didn't they do that? That would have been freaking awesome. You just walk into a bar and try to have good discussion and treat things like a normal person, and everybody he walks up to, he just points his dagger at and is like, come on, spill the beans, where must we go?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been great. Like, he just is trying to kill everybody. And you're like, hold on, that's not what we're here to do. We won't be able to fight if you start killing people, young man. And he'll be like, okay, fine, I'll be nice. It's like, that's how they should have treated him. That's how we should have went. But, oh well.
Alright, so that was back in the mad list, which means we're back in the Chad list.
Yes. By far the best in the campaign. It's definitely Vana. Like, on now. How do you look so good and then kick so much butt at the same time and have so much good foresight?
It should be noted that this is Vana / Heidelin.
Yes. So much foresight, and she just treats it like it's just a normal day. I thought that, like, it just... For a character that was powerful, I thought, like, she had a lot of heart and mind to go with it as well. So, like, it wasn't just, like, a single trait of hers that was really good. She kind of was a good, like a compass of the story. It's kind of like a nice guiding tutor.
Well, if you think about it, she's like...
Which was, like, the point.
She,
But, like, I didn't think they'd do it as well as they did.
Even though she's powerful with magic, she's like the other side of Emmett Selk. She's good with magic, but is very more powerful, at least the way I took it physically. Where Emmett Selk is just a magic, savant.
I think Vana is definitely a lot more straightforward, whereas Emmett Selk is kind of
subtle.
Yeah, he's a lot more subtle. A lot more subtle with what he can do. He's also a lot more humble. Vana, let's be frank here, is not humble.
No, she's not. But that's the beauty. The thing is,
and that's part of the charm.
And this is why the three characters just make up really a great group. Is Hippolytus points this out constantly.
Yeah. It's like you have one person who's just like, yeah, I'm awesome. What are you going to do about it? The other is like, I don't want to do anything, but I have to because I'm super uber powerful. And the other person there's like, lol, I get to watch these idiots fight.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
I'm having fun with this. It's like, I'm only here because I have good eyeballs.
Pretty much. Like if it was like, if you were to use the hockey system with for One Piece
with the characters.
Hippolytus has observation hockey. Emmett Selk practically has everything Conquerors or observation hockey, and then the physical one. I forget what it's called. And Vana has the physical one, and probably the observation hockey.
Yeah, so Vana, Hippolytus, and Emmett Selk, fantastic.
All three of them in the Chad list.
All three of them. That kind of was barring all three of them in a package deal right there.
Well, you kind of packaged them in the beginning when you were talking about the story, so.
Yeah.
Because
they're in there.
Because I remember in our list we did on Sunday, which was like a preview, you actually had Emmett Selk in the melee.
Yes. I am over the absolute sin that they did in Endwalker, where they brought him back just for him to help you in this one situation, and then he kills himself after teasing like the next 5 expansions. It's like, if I just forget that ever happened, I can love Emmett Selk again. But that was a plot-driven travesty that I wish to never speak of again, like Miss M.
Well, you kind of have to look at it that way, because you're not seeing him as you knew him through Shadowbringers. You're seeing
he's technically 2 people in one.
Kind of.
But they didn't really do that. All they did was, yeah, well, I should be mad at Hermes and Meteon. But I'm not, because I'm already dead, but I'm also back with my memories intact. So, I remember you were awesome, but also I hate you. but also we got along at the end of my death, but also I hate you. And then also, like,
He also kind of helped you against us a little bit, so if you think about it.
yeah, so it's like, you can't just ping pong your ally status like that
If you were to
within the
put,
span of 6 minutes.
if you put your
So,
if you were to put your relationship status in Emma itself, would be it's complicated.
yep. So it's like, that part is just like, is why I didn't like it. It's like he couldn't. It it neither meshed well nor did it make sense as to the actions he took. Because I guarantee you, Emmett Selk would not just kill himself because he has complication issues.
No, he'd figure it out.
Like, he would, yeah, he would figure it out probably after like half an hour, and he would either be back trying to kill you, or he'd be like, "We, the Warrior Light, and I are the best buds ever." Like, that's where that would settle. He wouldn't just go like, "I like you, but I hate you. Farewell."
Well, you could
And then
also
Hippolytus just goes along. Because the man is like the freaking parrot on a pirate's shoulder.
yeah, but he enjoys watching Emmett Selk have to get out of situations, even someone situations that aren't like oh we got to save the world or anything, but just like we got to go to the grocery store at the corner of the street. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. What's going to annoy him on the way and a way back?
It's like, I try to forget that moment, because that moment really hurt my thoughts on Emmett Silk.
Well, if you look
But no,
about,
I can't like drop him a whole tear for, I guess, that.
and you, like I said,
It's
you
kind
like
of the
them,
same with your Stola.
and like you said, in the situations you're dealing with him, he's paired up with someone. Not just you, but like he's paired up. Like when he gets to Elpis the first time you first meet him, he's with Hippolytus, and then Hippolytus, and Vana get together, and then they go, and of course they go to see Hermes, uh, and Medion. But he's still within a group setting. So I wouldn't say he it was like a sin, but it's more like it's not Emmett Selk carrying everything in those moments. It's Emmett Selk, Vana, and Hippolytus, and they make a great trio because you get different personalities.
Yeah, they also show,
And they
like,
just ping pong
with
off
Emmett
of each
Selk,
other.
you get to see other aspects of Emmett Selk with that.
Yes, we only know him as the scheming,
Yeah, so it's like,
somewhat depressed, but doesn't show it.
it's like they built him up so much more on top of Shadowbringers, and then that moment kind of was like, and then they dropped the baby on his head.
Yeah. And if you look back also on after you get to see him, Vanan, Hippolytus, I'm kind of not counting Hermes so much because he's more like the thing. He's the thing. He's the inciting incident that they unknowingly are going to. You know it because you're the audience, basically POV. That there's something about Hermes. They have no idea. Emmett Selk's there to see him because hey, you're going to get the title uh, of the Fandaniel title because he said that you would be his successor, and we're coming here to evaluate you. But if you look back from what you know from Endwalkers and go back to Shadowbringers when he recreated Amarant, and not even that, but at the patch notes, you could see how much Emmett Selk felt and thought of both Hippolytus and Vana, because he recreates Hippolytus so well, and even Hippolytus in Shadowbringers makes mention to that, and he kept Vanna's constellation crystal, which he ends up giving you to be able to beat Elidibus. So even though he doesn't show it in the typical way of, hey, these are my friends, my pals, I love them, I'll do whatever the fuck I could for them, those little things that I don't know if they purposely wrote it that way, knowing what they were going to show in Endwalker, but it shows you what he thought of, Vanna and Hippodeus, and going on to your fact that they're showing a different side of him. He's still this kind of like Kudere, type character, but it shows an unburdened Emmett Selk, because he is. He's unburdened. There's no burden upon his shoulders. He's just going about doing his job. And he's just like, oh god, I got to deal with these idiots. When your secret is like, I love them. They're my favorite. They're my friends to the end. But he just doesn't show it that way, and that's what makes him such a well-written character. And them all together, because no one tries to one up. They try to one up each other, but it's more like an inside joke than it is them actually trying to one up each other, specifically between Emmett Selk and Vanna. So, sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your list there.
No, you're good.
It's Emmett Selk and Vanna and Hippodeus. They're just like
That's literally the best part. And it's a shame that it was only like a third of the campaign.
yeah. I could sit there and watch. I'd read a manga with them, and all they do is like doing like slice of life shit. It would be the most awesome thing ever. But anyway, Emmett Selk, let's just say they're all in there, but you should be able to like give the reason why you did Vanna, you did Emmett Selk. What about Hippodeus? Why is he up there besides just being part of the trio?
I mean, Hythlodaeus is also very optimistic as well, but he's a lot more playful with it. He's very whimsical, due in part also the fact that he knows he's pretty incapable.
He's what?
Incapable.
Incapable of what?
Just incapable in abilities.
He
frequently
knows.
refers to how he can pretty much see everything, but can do virtually nothing about it.
He knows he's not on like Vanna and Emmett Selk's team.
Yeah. Like, part of the Hyperboreus situation is literally him pointing his bow and arrow at literally freaking nothing as a distraction, and then laughs at Hermes for being like, did you forget that I'm pathetic? I couldn't make a confluence if I tried.
Yeah. Which shows how actually capable he is, but in different ways.
Yeah. Just like he wasn't useless, but he's aware of his shortcomings, which is why he's good.
Yeah.
That's how Emmett became the seat of Emmett Silk. What was the seat? Hades. Was the seat just called Hades?
No, it's Emmett Selk. It's Emmett Selk. I think it is. 'Cause Hades is.
Is there an actual name of his that I don't know? Bruh.
It's weird. His actual fandom write up is like they don't know what his actual name was.
Oh, that hurts. It hurts my soul. I want to call my bro by his name, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a shame. Because he has, 3 titles. It's Hades, Emmett Selk, and something else, and I forgot what the other one was.
Well, he was the Soulless, remember?
No, not like a title like that. Like literally
Okay.
like a name type title.
Oh, okay.
But oh well. Um. So to the silence, I'll go briefly. Warangé was probably the best motivational speaker ever.
Up with the Loporits with the where they thought they fucked up, and then they were kind of like, well, wait a minute, what is our we for thousands of years we've been waiting for to take care of the residents of Aetheris, and now we just realized that all the information we had on you is out of date. And now you're also thinking about doing a plan B. What's our whatchamacallit? What's our purpose? And Ranjay's like, I got this. Also,
Delivers fantastic speeches.
he also gets to
He
grieve
gets to reconcile with
grieve
Rita's parents as
Yep,
well.
he gets to grieve properly.
Which I wish was a bit better.
Mm.
But that's also because it was following the Loporit quest that makes you chase 26 people.
Yep.
So it kind of hurt it, but it was touching nonetheless. Estinian, pleasure as always for you just trying to solve problems before they become problems, and they're obviously too much of a task most of the time. You also had really good chemistry with the Vritra.
Yep.
Who also is going on this list.
Some
the
beautiful
I'll put
meat.
them together because they bounce off each other because they're able to properly use the Heavens Ward themes together.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also get some beautiful meathead moments with him. Like you find out you can't trust him with a coin purse.
Oh yeah. It's like they balanced his seriousness and comedy like really freaking well. And I'm looking at you, Yoshi P, or whoever did that multi-choice character thing that really wanted the women to simp for him by giving him a custom outfit and leaping out your window. I am looking at you. You cannot fool me. You do not just have the hot Ellison walk in your room and leap out your window. Come on now. Cool your freaking jets.
There's a lot of fangirls. Hey, and some fanboys would tackle his ass. Yep. And make sure he doesn't make it out the window. Why don't you go on Vitra though? Because I know you want to. It makes sense to kind of make them a package, him and Estinian, because of their connection. But Vitra's a little bit special.
Vitra is a very good protector, guardian archetype. Because it's like, he literally was like, probably for the first like hour, was struggling just to deal with the fact that he has to kill his own people. Even though technically they're dead at this point.
Yeah.
But, like,
their ether is gone.
Yeah, but like, it's like you just know that he cares so much about the people he governs when, like, not only does he just do nothing during the Dragonsong War, but also just helping them like withstand chaos.
Yeah, he never answers the song.
Yeah, the Song of Nidhogg. He just says like, "Oh, my brother's angry." Moron.
I got stuff to do.
I got better things to do. Killing people is not the way.
Yeah, I got this thing about a bake sale that they want to hold in like the city square, and I gotta sign off on this and make sure everything's waste disposal and security and stuff. I got things to do.
Yeah.
He also self-mutilates himself for his people, too, if you think about it.
That freaking was weird. I was like literally, there was a point where I'm like, hey, so these dragon scales I'm getting from, you're not mutilating yourself for these, right? It's like, and you get the option to ask them, this isn't like detrimental to your life, is it? And he's like, oh no, barely an inconvenience. 'Tis only a flesh wound. And then it looks like it pans like to his
Yeah.
hind leg, and it's like missing like a foot's deep of
Scales.
meat. I'm like, you liar! Stop mass producing these things. Those things better grow back. Nevertheless, it's still probably painful. It was like, frickin' A. So, it's a very, very caring dragon who also, is stern when he needs to be. And also, it was hilarious watching Fortuno ask who the satrap is as the freaking massive dragon is standing right in front of them. Now, if that's not recluse behavior, I don't know what is.
He's like, you're looking at him, bitch.
Which of you are the boss? It wouldn't be this 60-meter-long dragon, would it?
Could be. Could be.
So, Thancred, Y'shtola, I think, were probably the least covered in the campaign, Scions-wise.
I would agree.
It's always a joy to watch them. Thancred had a little bit of shine infiltrating the Garlean sector.
Yep, you
That
got
was
to do
kind
a
of
little.
just flexing how cool he was.
You got to do a little solid snake with Thancred.
That kind of is his shtick in the campaign too. It's like, of the Scions, who's going to be the most baller? How about the one that can barely use magic?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, everyone's dying. Well, don't worry, Thancred's about to decapitate a little girl who's suffocating everyone. First to volunteer to save the world. Thank you, Thancred.
And you stole it?
Y'shtola probably had even less of involvement, but she had more times than I could enjoy. Both with her doctorate personality and her mommy personality. I think they're having a lot more fun with her now, but they still struggle when they need to make a serious note. They still struggle to land it with Y'shtola, which is a shame. But I'm kind of over that now, hopefully. We'll see. The Levieux twins, well, I say twins, Alice, because I know where I put Alpha now.
Yep.
Alice, they kind of jacked her emotions up a lot more, so they actually, they showed both her straightforwardness, both in combat and emotional maturity, a lot more.
She also throws that stinger at Xenos.
Throws that middle finger at Xenos, which, gotta hand it to you, pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie.
You're able to acknowledge the heart that Alice has. Cryo.
Oh yeah, who would be on your waifu list too?
I can't. If she didn't look like a child, it hurts because she's just so deadgum empathetic, caring, and sweet.
Which is probably why Heidelin uses her to communicate to you.
She's super forgiving too. Like, it's hard for her to hold a grudge at all.
And her humor and barbs are very playful.
Yes, she's very playful in comedy. Like, she won't really drag anyone down. She always kind of uses herself as a pedestal. just something that I actually like to try to do. So I know it's kind of a meme, but she like me for real, for real.
Yeah.
Graha Tia.
This boy has always been
This
in.
boy.
Has always been on. Granted, he really didn't.
He had a bit of a low point in the Patches of Shadowbringers because I was worried they were going to make him a joke. But then they said, no, reel that joke back in. We're going to make him the most baller paragon you done ever seen.
This
And
man saved and ran a country for over 100 years.
He commands attention and is super selfless and super caring. So it's like, I still remember when I think I was looking at one of your live streams and I saw what he looked like because I think you were running Circus.
I was running.
And I'm like, wow, that's a crazy villain.
I was running what again?
Circus Tower.
Oh, Sucrus Tower. Okay.
Sucrus Tower, and I'm like, dang, that's a crazy looking villain. Why does he look so nice? Because it's like I can't like fathom the red eyes mixed with his adoring personality. So it's like I'm just stuck at face value. I'm like, why does he look evil yet so dead gum nice? So it's now that I understand the charm of his, it's nice. It's interesting. It's kind of funny to look back and I'm like, wow, I thought this dude was evil.
And it's like that scene in Razarhan where he basically gets he throws
Stuff is hitting the fan. He says, "Okay, shut up. Listen to me. None of you are dying. Get behind me. Get to cover. I and my friends are gonna handle this." And it just
he knows when
concise.
he knows when to go into that command mode.
Yep.
He just doesn't. He knows he has it because he's done it for over 100 years.
Dude, at the end, freaking when you know everyone's freaking crying over the fact that you almost died after you you left yourself alone after saving them. Graha was like, it's like, what the frick? How could you fulfill your promise if you're dead, you a-hole?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got me in the feels. I didn't cry. But
Yeah, he knows when to. Go ahead. Sorry.
But like in that scene, Alice, Y'shtola, and Graha were probably my favorite reactions.
Oh, when we're in the forum.
No, when you're on the ship and they're looking at you.
Oh, okay.
After you're like literally almost dead, and they're crying over you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Alice was kind of tsundere, but you know it's in her character. Graha was very in character, and I think the acting on it too is like really good.
Yeah.
As well, like I think he practiced for that one, and then Y'shtola impressed me. Probably because it's the closest I've seen her cry.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she shed a tear once in the whole campaign. And then you listen to her voice actor, like, whimper. I'm like, wait a minute. You don't feel for me, do you?
Yeah.
You always make jokes and things. You're not supposed to be sad.
You're not in the friend zone.
No, I wouldn't say that. She still mentioned Ranar, and Endwalker. She literally is at the freaking last stand, and you're enjoying a nice meal, and she's like, I can't wait to learn interdimensional travel so I can go back and fulfill my promise. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, you think there's something there. I don't think there's something there.
You can't just have her say that at like random intervals. It's like freaking Big Lion Boy and Big Lion Pants literally on her mind 24/7.
No, no. I
Um,
mean, can you blame Orange for not caring about the fairies? Oh God,
no, I can understand it.
I'm away from those
They're
fucking
crazy.
magical psychopaths.
They're crazy. And then I think the last ones I think are Fortuno and Ameliance.
The twins, mom and pa.
Where Ameliance is just such a nice little sugar cube. So nice.
You could do custom deliveries for her if you do crafting.
It's like she's too nice to such a detriment. I mean, it didn't detriment any of us, but like, holy crap! How can you be so deadgum?
Oh, and you do not fuck with her. And I'll give you an example because you'll probably, if you ever get to like crafting anything, you get up to the level where you able to do custom deliveries for her. When that's somewhere in the 80s. Um, all the crafting people, which is like Zoe's little older sister in Idleshire. There's another guy in Idleshire um, who deal in scripts. And so when Emily is doing a thing, she's trying to do it for like students that are not from Charlotte, and she wants to like support them and stuff like that. So she decides to team up with Rowena, and we all know how everyone feels about Rowena. And the way she goes about the meeting and explaining how things are, Rowena's like really pissed at her because she's like, "Wait a minute, did she just get one up over me?" Because Rowena's so used to either scaring people into doing business with her, or basically her one upping someone. And no, she doesn't one up Emily. And Emily's does it so nicely too. Like,
Shield of kindness.
yeah, she pretty much like, wait, did I lose? um, sorry, I just had to add that there because I know you probably might not get around to doing that, but you get to see how wonderful a person she is.
And I think the I don't know what type of arc it was. It was kind of redemption-esque, but also like understanding or reconciliation as well for
Between
Fortuno.
Fortuno and his
Fortuno and his children.
mm,
It's like the whole expansion when involving the Leviers. It kind of brought attention to their rift. And you get to see it mend, and then you actually get to see Fortuno like actually cry about it because he's like freaking he's making a gamble on his children's lives,
mm-hmm.
and then he's just so deadgum. Like he's finally relaxed and calm after like it's over. Like the one thing that's been making him such an a-hole, I think, for the most part, is like finally resolved, and he can drop the act. He can actually make amends now.
He's like Emmett sulking away with a burden, but the burden isn't because
The burden doesn't make you borderline insane.
yeah, it's not like the
It just
burden.
makes you kind of a douchebag.
Yeah, it's like not a burden with like thousands and thousands and thousands upon years in a big grand plan. It is still something that is very important, but he's also wasn't due to the, again, spoilers, the enchantment done to the forum where they could not speak what they were doing about unless the enchantment was lifted, which it eventually is. So he's doing this thing, and he can't tell his kids why. He can't tell his wife why. But he has to do it because it's important. So in a way, he's kind of, even though he's not the only one that's in that position, when it comes to him, his interactions within the people he loves and cares about, he can't tell them, and it's kind of it was eating away at him a bit. And you know, I forgot who it is that told Alphino to show your father through your actions, not through your words. Which, if you think about it, is the inverse for Foshino. He couldn't say anything through words, and his actions, unfortunately, are obfuscated for what the Forum was doing with the plan of, evacuating Theris. So, neat little observation there by me.
He's a very action-driven character. Like he understands actions, probably more so than he does anything else. Which is why I think Amelian's told her children
Yeah,
speak to him through actions and not words, because that's literally what he was doing. He just, couldn't share the actions for so long.
yeah, I think that's the key word. He couldn't share the actions. He was showing action, but he was doing action, but not showing the reasons why these actions were being performed. But that's just because he was held by an enchantment that they couldn't tell anyone. Not like he was purposely keeping this from, his children and his wife.
And I do believe that is everybody.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I mean, there was a couple characters that came up, but there was not enough to put them either in Chad or Beta. They would be put into Met, and it's a bit of a disservice character because there's just not enough time to even justify putting them in, like the one Gleamer Bunny Boy. Yeah, he had
I enjoyed him, but
yeah, he had
he was charming and
an important
helped
part.
you a bit.
Yeah, but not enough to really stand out on a list.
And then
Oh,
Meteon, I
we
think.
forgot about the Watcher.
Oh, and the Watcher. Meteon and the Watcher. The Watcher I just enjoyed because he was super duty bound.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like committed to the cause, but also wasn't limited to the cause he was given. Like he was still willing to help,
Yes.
but he still kind of he was bogged down by his duty, but at the same time still wanted to help, and which is interesting for simulacra like himself, or
Yeah.
spirit like himself.
Well, he's basically based. He is based off of a person. So Vanal basically did a
Like, there was an original Watcher, but he's not the same person. But he's
yeah.
what it's based on.
It was Vanal's closest thing to what Emmett Selk did with Hippodeus
Um,
and Amarat.
and then Meteon, I just struggle enjoying her. Only because it's like she's dragged through the mud so often.
She's the purpose for the inciting incident.
She's the purpose, but I don't think they really helped her when she needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where it fell apart.
No, that's the problem, is that she's set up as the reason for the inciting incident.
It's like it could have been avoided, but this is why I also hate Hermes, because this could have been avoided, but
Well, they try to.
arrogance and hubris freaking just shattered that, and Medion was caught in the midst of that, and like
She was the. She was
nobody
the.
cared
She was the
about
night.
her.
Yeah, she was the naivete, her and her sisters. Like, he sends out all these children, basically, out to all these, to like, deep space, to go find, like, other civilizations and ask them the question, but doesn't give them the tools to deal with if the question wasn't satisfactory to their parameters, which is the reason why all of them go crazy. And it doesn't help that he uses the one energy source, which they call Dynamis in Elpis, but it's not. It's called something else in the source. That
Aksha.
yeah, Aksha, where you pointed out on Sunday is super volatile. And then that's what happens. They weren't able to handle it. They're basically what makes them them, which is Dynamis, not Ether, which is what makes up everyone else. Basically goes haywire and ape shit and creates a super nihilistic depression bomb that is going through the universe. And that all falls on fucking Hermes' shoulders.
Yep.
Not
Which is why
Medion's.
he's mad.
Medion is kind of sort of a victim in this. And of course, he basically kept it under the rug. Because even Hippodatus is like, I don't remember you bringing forth this concept yet. I haven't seen it across my desk. Oh, it's just like a little side project of mine. I'm keeping on the down low. It's kind of hard to figure. I don't think you could put her on any list. You can kind of feel a bit sorry for her. And yeah, we're kind of looking at Hermes as being like the dickhead of all this, and he kind of is. And they point out, like, I think it was even Emmett Selk, like he's got a good heart and everything. The road, the road, a road was it the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Even the road to hell can be paved by good intentions.
Yeah, that's Hermes. And like you said, hubris, because he's like, I want to know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make him a evil person in the sense of he's purposely doing something that's evil. He did something with a good intention, but he should have let other people know, and he should have done it better. So it makes him unintentionally evil, which is probably even worse. Because it's just like it shows that a lack of caring involved in it.
Okay, that's the list.
Yeah.
All right.
Huh?
I need to run and do some stuff in Destiny now, though.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right. Well, let's see what time it is. It's 12. Yeah, yes. All right. So there you go. Bam's assessment, and Bam does have whatchamacallit. He has side stuff that he'll get to, and then of course he's got patch quests. Ooh, you won't be able to unlock the Manderville relic quest yet until you
not yet, but I'm getting
finish
there.
finish the others. So as I look around, anyway, Next stream, possibly tomorrow. Um, it'll be whatchamacallit? Dead Space, the hard playthrough. As I get ready to, as I go through, it's with markers and stuff, so I get an alternate ending, and then I'm going to also get ready to do my impossible run. But that is a possibility. It's a good thing you had stuff to do with Destiny, because I'm starting to drift. Benadryl, God,
I gave you
Benadryl's.
an opportunity for sleep.
Yeah, well, it's forced sleep at this point because the Benadryl.
Forced coma.
Benadryl said,
Hopefully you don't wake up at 5 p.m.
"God no," because that means I didn't go to work. I
Trying to
didn't.
set 5 separate alarm clocks in the span of 10 minutes.
Yeah, that means I would have like skipped work unintentionally and then didn't call in saying sorry, I'm in a coma. Wait, a coma? Yeah, Benadryl coma. It's like Benadryl's like doing the wolf whisper from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Oh no, Benadryl, don't! I was also hoping to do stuff, and all I did is like run 2 dungeons today, and I'm like, fucking allergies. Anyway, if you enjoy the stream, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notifications when we are streaming. You can also follow me on PlayStation Network. Whenever I'm playing a game or streaming, you'll see it in your dashboard feed. You can join us in our Discord. You can see I'm starting to like slur shit now. It's called Space Canada. We also have a Facebook page called Space Canada. Send request to get in. It's all about games, geekery, stupidity, nowhere bullshit. We get that on a daily basis. You can also um, something called Twitter, I think, and the pages are my tag. It's some goth guy named Emo McGillicuddy, and the name of her channel, Space Canada TV. It's even it's Twitter. What I would say, take it or leave it, but my thing would be leave it, burn it to the ground. Anyway, that's the whole scoop. Hopefully next week we'll. I mean, through the week, we definitely Bam will. I mean, we'll probably be playing this, and I'll be running them through stuff. But maybe join us next week as we do stuff. We'll love to get Bam into the the Abyssos raid, or actually it's the Pandemonium raid. That's what I was calling the Pandemonium raid series, specifically to get him into Circles 5 through 7 because they have excellent fucking music, and Bam's all about the music. Got good music, you've got a hook in the Bam, and I can't really blame him. Anyway, I'd like to thank Bam for taking out some time for this. I will also bring up the fact that next Tuesday I will be doing a silent stream of Destiny Lightfall. And there goes Bam, he's out of the party. Destiny Lightfall. Which is on the 28th. So, anyway, looking at Bam again, aka Jairus Polaris in chats. My name is Super Evil Pop Tarts. As always, executive producer Taku and the Fail Kitty. Remember, in space, no one can hear you apologize.